Good morning, everybody. Dr. Rick Wallace here, dropping in on you on Monday morning. I hope you guys have gotten your day off to a good start. You've primed, you've set your state for the day. You're functioning optimally across the spectrum from your emotions, your physicality, your thought processes, your spiritual state and energy mission is all where you need it to be. If not, you need to stop and press the reset button and make sure you set your state. Remember, how you start your day is how you move through and finish your day. If you can win the first hour and have complete control and sovereignty within that time, you set the state of how you will engage the challenges of the day. Remember, we are not successful because we have found a way to circumvent life's vicissitudes and challenges. We are successful because we have determined the manner in which we will engage them, and we will engage them with power, with expectation, and with a relentless and an inexorable force and desire to finish what we start. That's the difference between those who are successful and those who aren't. Before I get started, today is not going to be a long session. But before I get started, I want to remind you, if you haven't gotten your copy of Critical Mass, my 20th book, Critical Mass: The Phenomenon of Next Level Living, definitely order this book. You order it directly from, you can get this book, Barnes& Noble, Sony Books, Amazon, Kobo, and so many other places that distributes books. You can get it in all those places, but you can't get it for the price that we're offering it. We decided to keep the promotional price at the organization. So when you order it directly from us, you actually get it at a lower price. And for those who are sentimental, you get my signature. If you request, you get a personalized autograph. But whatever it is, with or without the autograph, the book carries so much value. It's a peek inside of my mind, how I think, how I've moved, how I've accomplished the things I've done, and how I get results for my clients. So those that want to get started with the least amount of investment, here's your start. Those who are ready to take the next step, reach out and get at me. But look, I want to tell you something. One of the things that I consistently address and talk about is the fact that your self-talk is literally writing the narrative of your future destiny. You're literally speaking affirmations into a reality that you're producing from your thinking and the expressions of your thought, which is your speech. When you are talking, you're also recycling an idea. So you want to make sure that your speech is in alignment with your desires. And what I mean by that is you tend to speak about your situation based on what you're focused on and where you get the most power, what you ascribe the most force and power to. It's one thing to desire success. It's one thing to desire to have a life in which you are growing and changing. And I'm not just talking about finances. I'm not just talking about how people see you. I'm talking about experiencing life in a place that you can truly embrace who you are. You can truly find joy in who you are. You can see it in your relationships as a spouse. You can see it in your relationships as a parent. You can see it in your relationship as a business owner, as an employee or employer. And it flows through your life because you're living within the veins of your purpose, your destiny, and you're constantly growing. The greatest force to produce joy and happiness on a consistent basis is personal growth. It is the progression through life in which you are consistently moving from one state to a higher one over the course of your life. And a lot of these segments of growth aren't massively huge to where there are these quantum leaps in growth. So you've got to be very aware of how much your life is changing over time so that you can have a heart of gratitude and be thankful and be grateful and continue to put your force and your faith in the idea of getting better. It's about that. But when you speak in a negative sense, if you have a self-talk that's negative, what you're doing is expressing some beliefs that are either inside on the surface or maybe a little deep hidden in your the subconscious. But these cognitions are producing a speech that's reflective of your expectations and the reality in the way you see your current situation. And so when you speak, your brain is, there's a saying that says your brain is eavesdropping on your self-talk, meaning your subconscious hears what you say, and it gives what you say so much more validity than anything else. When you, while someone telling you you can't do something, or telling you to be realistic, or reminding you of past failures, has an impact on your perception of a reality, or your analysis of a possibility. Nothing has more force than you repeating what they say. Your voice, your speech has so much gravity in the processing of how you see life, that when you speak something negative, it carries an immense force in your life, and you've literally set that in motion. And if you don't interrupt it, it will come to fruition. The beautiful thing about it is you can capture your negative self-talk. You can realign your self-talk to align with a future expectation, and you can use your imagination to create that expectation. Then when you use your imagination to create that expectation, the mind does not have, the subconscious mind and the non-conscious brain does not have the ability to distinguish between what you are imagining and what is really happening. It sees everything in the present tense, whether it's the past, the present, or the future. When you live in it, it produces a current reality as far as your subconscious is concerned. So when you are imagining living in a situation that is better than the situation you're in, it creates an emotion, because the brain sees it as being real. And so you will develop an emotion. That emotion is what solidifies it and creates the passion that causes the movement. It's the force. So you literally can change that by speaking it. And when you first speak something, that when you call, there's a old religious saying, say, call things that are not as though they were. It's talking about the force of faith. And there's absolutely truth in this. I don't care what your belief system is. You have the ability to call things that don't exist and create the force, the idea, the direction to actually bring those things that don't exist into fruition. And it's in calling things that don't exist. And when you first do it, it's going to sound weird, because the conscious mind hears you saying it and says that it's not real. And you just have to keep speaking it, and speaking it with a frequency that tells the subconscious mind, which controls 96% of your behavior over the course of every day, tells it can't distinguish whether it's true or not. It accepts it. You're saying this is what it is, it's what it is. The more you say it, the more emphatic it becomes, the more powerful, the more ingrained, the more inculcated into your subconscious and psyche it goes, and the more powerful the force it creates. So here's the thing, you could be talking about, if you're going through a situation where your marriage is in trouble and all you talk about is how much your marriage is in trouble, you're literally manifesting more trouble. But if you sit up and say that despite where I'm at, I have a beautiful spouse, whether it's a husband or wife, we will overcome this. We have the love that will stand. Now, I'm not talking about staying in abusive relationships where people don't respect you. I'm talking about where you get to those impasses. That's just a part of life. Two individuals thinking two different things and not being willing to move, or getting caught up in the grind of trying to make ends meet and trying to manage or raise children and do everything, can get you at an impasse and get you to where you don't appreciate what you have. And then you get caught up in it, and you look up and there's this tension that's in the relationship. You can get past that. You've got to be careful though, because what you focus on, you feel. So when you're focused on the negative becomes bigger, it becomes broader, it expands, it becomes more powerful and influential in your life. You've got to be very careful about what you focus on. So what you focus on is what you love about your partner, what you're invested in this relationship. What if it's finance? What are you invested in? What do you desire? What do you see yourself at in the future? What do you desire for yourself in the future? And if you can't see it, you got to create it in your mind, because the stronger and the more vivid the vision, the more the experience, the greater the emotion, more powerful the passion and the movement towards it. All of this comes from first saying, this is what I see, and speaking it, not because it's there. See, a lot of people sit up and say they fake and no. See, I'm living my life my best life, I'm living it now, but I'm not currently in my best life, but I'm living it now. How do you do that? People have asked me over and over again, especially those who knew me some years back when my life was at the worst place, 2012, the worst by far year of my life. And I've had some tough spats with losses, losing my father and some other things. But that year was like, oh my God, I lost a brother-in-law, I lost a sister, I lost everything I had worked hard for. And I mean, it was just all happening in this one year. And the brother-in-law and the sister was like 2 weeks apart in the same month, May 2012. Never will forget it. And just like one thing after another. And it's like, man, can it get any worse? But then the people who were watching me really, I mean, this year solidified who I am in so many ways. But people would watch me that knew me. And it wasn't too many people that knew everything I was going through, but different people knew something. And just that something they knew was like, man, I'm not understanding. How are you smiling? How are you showing up and fulfilling these obligations that you have? When man, nobody will be mad at you if you just take some time off and go deal. But you're showing up every day with a smile on your face. How are you doing it? See, the thing is, most people get trapped into living in their condition. Most people get caught up in their condition, where they are now, and they get so consumed with it that they identify with it, and it becomes a part of their ongoing reality. Me, I see my condition, I see the situation that's there now, but that's not who I am. It cannot define me. It's a moment in time that will pass. And what I see is what's in the future. I've already determined where I'm going out of this. I'm going to allow this to shape me. I'm going to take on this pain because it's shaping me. I'm going to take on this struggle, this heartache, this difficulty, this delay, this disappointment, these losses. I'm going to take them on because they're going to shape me. When I come out of the storm, I'm going to come out of the storm a better man than when I went in. And that is going to be what drives me to this place I already see in my mind. And I'm going to live in this place while I operate in my current reality. Maybe you didn't hear me. I trained myself to live in my future reality while I operate and function in my current condition. Why is that important? Because, see, I am able to literally visit what I'm working for. I'm able to experience it and feel it before it actually manifests itself in the third dimension. I am literally able to sit up and say, this is worth what I'm going through right now. This right here is worth what I'm going through in the present. And I speak it as if it is already there. I do not claim anything that I do not desire. I don't care how prevalent, how powerful it presents itself. I don't claim it. I live in the desires and the reality that I have created and manifested, and it allows me to rise above the negative energy that my condition would create without that force. Be careful of what you're speaking. Words have power. Words have force. And when you're speaking it, your subconscious is eavesdropping on it and taking it as gospel. The only way I can get this across emphatically. When you say something, your subconscious says, if he's saying it, if she's saying it, it's got to be real. It's got to be on. So when you talk about how bad your marriage is, when you talk about how bad your finances is, when you constantly speak about lack in any area of your life, when you constantly speak to an idea that you have no control over what's going on and where you're headed, when you consistently do that, you surrender to that idea, and it becomes an emphatic force in your life, and it guides you to the things that you say you don't want. That's why you don't focus on what you don't want. You focus on the solution. You focus on the new direction. You focus on what you are manifesting. It is absolutely imperative that you learn how to monitor your self-talk. Another way to look at it is to see your brain as the baddest, most powerful supercomputer on the planet. Your self-talk is the program that it runs. It doesn't matter what your computer has in the way of power and capacity. if it does not run the program that's necessary to produce what you desire. Same thing with your brain. This brain is unlimited. I mean, you're talking about an organic machine that has the capacity to process 4 billion bits of information per second. Your non-conscious brain, your subconscious mind is processing 4 billion bits of information per second. And that's hard for you to fathom. You know why? Because your conscious mind and the conscious level of your brain can only process 2,000. So just the idea that it's 4 billion bits of information per process is hard to fathom, but it's there. And so but if all you're feeding it is negativity, it only works. It's just like, think of your brain as a search engine. When you type in keywords in Google, if you were to type in Google, what are the ways that I would fail in opening a restaurant in uptown, whatever city you live in? And Google's going to come back with all the reasons why businesses fail in that area. And what Google will not do is come up with an alternative. Google will not say, but businesses that have succeeded in this area did A, B, C, and D. Well, I guarantee you there are businesses that have succeeded in the area, but you didn't ask Google that. You gave Google the keywords, tell me why I'm going to fail, and Google did that. Your brain will do the same thing. What you focus on, it will focus on. What you looking for to validate, it will validate. If you say I'm going to fail, show me how I'm going to fail, it will show you. You don't even have to say show me, just say I'm going to fail, and it'll show you constantly why you will fail, because the brain is going to produce what you ask it to produce. Now, when you sit up and say, somebody says, well, so many percent, so much of a percentage of businesses that start in this are dissolved within the first 3 to 5 years, and you say, no, I want to find out how the ones survive. So how do you survive past that critical 3 to 5 year range? And your brain goes to work, and your brain is more powerful than Google, and it will produce to you exactly what you ask it to produce. But you got to be consistent with what you're asking. And so that means you got to monitor your self-talk. Look, I've got to get off here. I've got a lot to do today. I'm going to try to get back to you guys. But whatever you do, monitor your self-talk. Be careful. I mean, make that a practice every day of being aware of what you say. And if you say something negative, come back and cross it out and cancel it with something positive that moves against it. You've got to bring those thoughts into captivity. You've got to monitor your speech. You've got to be very, very specific about how you engage in life, what you're demanding of life, and what you expect. With that being said, I got to get out of here. Don't forget, if you haven't gotten your book yet, Critical Mass, go ahead and order it. Like I said, if you order directly from the Visionetics Institute, you're going to get it at a reduced price in comparison to Barnes & Noble, Sony, Amazon, Kobo, and a number of others, places where it's actually distributed. But nevertheless, let's move on. Also, if you have a business that you're trying to get off the ground, I'm doing breakthrough sessions for business and personal. I think I have the business breakthrough questionnaire up, but if you want a personal breakthrough session at no charge, the first session is at no charge. If you continue on, obviously that's a charge, but the first session's on me. I just want to work with as many people as possible to show you what's possible. And in 30 minutes, you'll see something. I have yet to have one of these sessions with someone and they say, man, didn't get anything out of it. So definitely do that. But anyway, I'm going to get out of here. You guys have a great day. As I always say, I'm living my life on full so that when it's time for me to transition, I leave this place on E. I'm going to down E. That is my goal. And at its simplest level, that's what drives me. You know, yeah, I've got specific things that I'm looking to accomplish, but every day I'm investing in every second, so that I don't leave a part of me and my potential in that moment. That's so important, that you invest and understand the gravity and the importance of every second of this life that you're living, because life is so fleeting. It's here today and it's gone tomorrow. And what you have left is what you've invested in. And what will speak of you after you're gone is what you invested in. What will ease and soothe the hurt of those you leave behind is what you invest in. what you have that still speaks of you, that gives them a healing balm, an emotional healing balm that soothes that emptiness that you left behind, is going to be how well you worked while you were here. Stop taking life so casually. Stop just coasting through and being just enough to get by. You weren't built for that. You weren't designed for that. You weren't created for that. There's something unique and special inside of you. You should be tapping into it. Look, I've got to get out of here. You guys have an unbelievable and awesome day, and I'll check in with you as soon as I can. I'm out. Peace.